I now invite Dina Mae Visser, President of the North Columbia Zone, to introduce our next speaker.
Madam President,
Dina Mae.
she gave me permission to say that there's a lady here that I have known since she was a child, and I guess that makes, I was a child back then too. In 1950, my folks moved to Parma, Idaho, and here was Carmen Schlappennagel and her mother at the church there, and our brothers became best friends, and it is a joy to always see Carmen. And it's been a blessing that God has used her in our district in many different offices. She has just finished her term as the Oregon district president, and now she's serving on the Vision Grant Committee for National. So it's always a joy to see her. And it's wonderful, God, it gives people the years of friendship that we've had, which was 70 years last month that my folks lived there. Our mission speaker is a sister in Christ who loves the Lord and the opportunity to serve. She has worked in the medical field and has a heart for those who need a personal advocate and someone to care for them and love them. She is a caring person. This lady and her husband took her high school age grandson into their home to give him a stable home environment. They provided structure for him in high school, attended his school events, loved him, and were proud of him when he graduated. She is active in her LWML Society, North Columbia Zone, and the LWML Washington, Alaska District. Doing this mission trip to Uganda and Africa was an eye-opener for her to see some things in a new way. Please give a warm welcome to Sandra Hall.
How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Romans 10:14-15. How many of you have been on a short-term mission, or any mission for that matter? Well, in 2009, I heard about an African mission that Paul and Lynette Schultheis was taking. I was so excited, but it was very expensive, and I really couldn't afford to go at that time. They said they would be going again one day, and so I could be ready. So I saved my money. I really saved hard, and I waited until they were ready to go. In 2017, they said they were ready for another trip. I said, okay, I'm ready to go. So on January of 2018, we left on a plane from Spokane, Washington to South Africa. We landed in Entebbe, South Africa. We took a bush van for 2 hours on a dirt road to Bukika. We started in our hotel in Jinja because it was middle of the night when we got there. And then we got up in the morning. We took a bush van to the Fountain of Hope School in Bukika. And Bukika is a little village just outside the big city of Jinja. We had purchased sewing machines ahead of time. We had fundraisers that helped us to get these sewing machines. And we had them purchased in Jinja so that we could have them ready when we got there. So the very first day we got there, ladies showed up by the droves actually, and we had to separate the class into two classes, AM and PM. The ladies shared machines the first couple of days, and then we got them to understand that they could come in the morning or in the afternoon so that we could have machines for everyone. They learned how to sew. They were so eager. They would usually get to the school before we did in the mornings, and they would be waiting for us when we got there. The school was kept locked, so we had to unlock it for them so they could go in. They would start sewing after the first 2 or 3 days before we even started class. We always prayed with them. We always prayed for God to lead us in the right direction for that day. We made so many steps and strides with these ladies. One of them wanted to be a seamstress so that she could earn money for her family. They were so eager and so fast. Most of them knew how to sew by hand, but they'd never used a machine before. So using a treadle machine was quite a task for them. We taught them how and to move their feet so that they could go on to the next project. They made purses, they made dresses, they made blouses, they made shirts, they made shorts, and they made pants and skirts. They made whatever we had patterns for them to make. They wanted to learn to make it. We had collected material from various places, donations. Some people purchased material for us to use. We went into Ginger one day and bought more material because we were running out, and the ladies didn't want to quit sewing yet, and they still had a few days of our 2 weeks' time. In the evening, we would take blessing visits out into the bush, and we would take rice and beans and sugar that we purchased and give it to the families out there who needed something. Let me tell you, those people really do live in grass huts, mud and grass. That's what they're made of. Maybe one room, maybe two if they're lucky. Sometimes there were 5 or 6 people living in one room. They spent most of their time outside, did most of their cooking outside. I remember one day I asked a lady, I said, "So what do you do when it rains?" Because I noticed that her bed was laying under a hole in the ceiling, or the roof, or whatever you call it. She said, "Oh, I just roll over." And she would just roll over when the rain started coming through the roof. Sometimes she would find neighbors to help her. She was very elderly, so she couldn't climb up on that roof and fix it herself. Sometimes people would help her fix it. She was so grateful to be able to receive rice and beans and sugar and soap. They used soap in big bars, and they just scrub their clothes, and then they lay them over the bushes so that they will dry. They don't have a clothesline. They don't have a washer or a dryer. They have a basin that they wash their clothes in. The same basin is what they wash their dishes in. And they have another basin they put their dishes in when they're clean. They sleep on the floor, except for, we took mattresses to them. We took mattresses, we took blankets. They don't use pillows. And they were so grateful. Some of the ladies are raising their grandchildren because the parents have died of AIDS. They will sew the clothes for their grandchildren so that they don't have to use their money to buy the clothes, and they can use their money to buy food. They will be able to make money with their sewing, to sell, to make a living for their family. I cannot express to you the gratitude these ladies had for us. They would give us hugs. They would say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over again. And God bless you, God bless you. It was so fulfilling to hear them and know that we were teaching them a way to live, and that God was showing us how to do this, and that they knew God was showing us because we told them that. And they went to church on Sunday. We attended church with them. They found church to be an all-day thing for them. On Sunday, that's what you did. You spent the day at church, and you sang, and you listened to the sermons, and you listened to scriptures, and you listened to readings. And it was a wonderful day. It was a full day, and I was as tired at the end of that day as I was on the days we taught school. But they were so appreciative and so loving people that it didn't matter. I just enjoyed being with them. Out in the bush, we got to see a tea plantation. Couldn't get out of the van. There were very deadly snakes in those tea plantations. So they sprayed the tea so that the workers could go out in the field and pick. But the bush driver said, no, you don't go out there. And so he did pick me a leaf, and I saved it. It's dried. It's at home. and we got bowls made of grass, and elephant grass, I believe it's called. I actually was able to bring home a broom that was made from elephant grass. They use these grass brooms to sweep their floors. That's how they stay clean. These people are the most wonderful people. So they're innovative. I mean, they can figure out a way to do something when nobody else can. They just find a way. The ladies, at the end of their class time, there would always be 2 to 3 ladies sweeping and mopping the floor. Even though we hadn't told them to do that, they would do that. And each class, there would be 2 to 3 ladies cleaning the floor. And at the end of the day, when it was time to go home and it was getting dark outside, which, by the way, when it gets dark in Africa, the sun does not gradually set, it just gets dark all of a sudden. The bush van would usually drive up to the door of the school and sit with their headlights on if we weren't done getting everything ready to go. Because it gets dark, and it's just dark now. And we couldn't find our way to the van. We'd have to holler at him to come and get us because it was just so dark. And they don't have street lights. They don't have all the things that we have. They don't have electricity a lot of the time. None. Sometimes the electricity will be off for hours. And the lifestyle they live there is so simple. But they're happy. They don't know anything but the love of God. And we helped some of those ladies who didn't know the love of God learn the love of God. Some of them came to church for the first time while we were there because they saw what God could do for all of us. I just encourage you to set goals, put on your bucket list short-term mission, and take a 2-week mission, even if it's to Alaska. The Alaska Mission for Christ always needs volunteers to help them run Bible classes, vacation Bible school. They have all kinds of things they need volunteers for. Spend 2 weeks in Alaska. Okay, I think I'm about done. Get those feet going, ladies. Go to a short-term mission. You will never regret it. And don't say you can't because you don't have the money. Because you know what? Dessert auctions are wonderful. You can always find a way to raise the money if you really want to do something. And if God leads you to do it, He'll see that you get there. I know. I'm an example. Thank you. Have a great day.